of course, you guys asked for this video a while back already, so finally, after making that poll on my Discord server, which you should also join, I'll put the link in the description before the video begins. But yeah, my Blackout PvP guide. A lot of you have asked for this, so here it is. Anyways, I'll be covering 5 main topics from top to bottom. It will be aim, positioning, game sense, gun preference, and confidence. Some are more important, some are less important, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's more personal preference. So just look through each of them and, you know, take my advice with a grain of salt, because it might not always be correct. And before I go any further, I would like to say, for some of these parts, I will be giving examples to better illustrate what I'm trying to say, but for some other ones, such as aim, I will not be giving examples, since there really isn't much I could show with gameplay, you know. Alright, to begin with, we will start with aim. 2 points here. It will mainly be play the game more, and I'll also cover aim labs, but in a bit. So first, playing the game more. At the end of the day, I feel like the best way to get better at aiming and Blackout is to really just familiarize yourself with the gun system. It's pretty different from a lot of, you know, other shooter games. So you have to kind of just get that muscle memory in by just playing the game more. You know, the more you use the guns in the game, the more you'll remember. You'll just automatically remember how to aim properly, aim better, you know. And also, definitely do not be afraid to lose cash. A lot of people keep telling me they have like 1 mil in stash, and they don't even want to buy guns to go into fights. Please do not do that. If you really want to improve, just buy cheap guns. You can, you know, buy Uzis, buy Mac 11s, buy Deagles. I use these guns myself a lot, even in game wars against people with AKs, because they really are effective if you know how to use them. I mean, even if you didn't use them properly, it'll help you get better, man. Just trust me. Spend money. Don't be afraid to lose money. All right, it's gonna hold you back on you progressively getting better at aiming. All right. Anyways, my second point, aim labs. Does it really work in my opinion? Yeah, I think it does. Just don't overdo it, you know. Don't spend like 6 hours on aim labs every day. I don't think that's a very good idea. But generally, aim labs, I used to actually use it. I used it for like a week or 2, but I kind of stopped. But what you kind of want to do if you really want to go hardcore on getting better at aiming, which I guess most people, I guess you don't really need that. I don't think it's too necessary. But if you really want to play much more consistently, aim much better, you can just hop on aim labs, do kind of like 10 to 15 minutes of warm-ups and aim labs on, you know, like tracking related maps before you hop into Blackout. From my personal experience with some other games that I played aim labs as warm-up on, I can say it'll help you aim so much more consistently. So, you know, generally it will help you with your aim and gameplay a lot. So if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you, but if it does work for you, it'll be very useful, since, you know, if it did work, you'll see it, man. You'll see it's pretty obvious. So if you want to try that out, you can go ahead. Now to my next point, which is positioning. I believe positioning is very crucial to solo players, or when you are outnumbered in a fight, or generally just in any fight, really. It's a very good skill to have, and me personally, I end up getting a lot of kills that I usually would not get by kind of basically abusing it. How I'm gonna explain this, I will basically run you guys through 3 of the most common building types in the game, and I'll explain every and each part of these buildings that I think you should probably take note of when you're fighting somebody inside or around it. Another main point for positioning really is to just make sure that you are always putting yourself in a place where it is easier for you to kill somebody else rather than for them to kill you. Or there's a higher chance for you to run away and not die than for you to fight somebody and have a high chance to die. Just always keep it in mind when you're making your decisions, you know. Alright, and to begin with, I will first talk about the normal 3-story, well, not 3 stories, actually yes, 3-story apartments. These apartments, they're all quite different, each of them. There's some unique features for every single one of these apartments, with especially mechanics apartments, which I will be going through at the end of this, since it is quite literally my favorite spot to play around. Anyways, to begin with, apartments, 3 floors. Pretty simple. Usually there's a merchant at the top, there's interiors on the first and second floor, and on the third floor usually there will be an open area where you can then enter the merchant from. This building is extremely easy to go around. What you might usually see me do a lot in these buildings is camp stairways. Why I personally love these stairways so much is because they literally run in a straight line. If you shoot, there's really nothing they can do about it, with there being a very narrow space for them to go up, and with Roblox lag, they'll usually be dead by the time they manage to react, given that you're not using a gun with extremely low damage. And at the same time, this works on both the second floor, both the second floor and the third floor. With you being able to lock the door here usually, which would give you a perfect space to camp, not being able to be interrupted by these windows, which you should very much take note of when you're fighting people, as if you were to ever stay here, it is always possible for people to come out here, jump down, drop down, climb here, and beam the ever-living shit out of you, and you obviously don't want that to happen. Usually a very common escape route I use is, after I get somebody killed here, my ammo could be decently low, I would need a refill. Now most of the times I'm in a position I usually don't want to be, so I would not be going up the normal way. I would usually come here. I'm gonna be assuming there's somebody chasing me, because that's what I usually, like, not even usually, that's what always happens. Come up here, this is a very good place to reload if there's, well, nobody outside camping you. And after you do that, you can run all the way up here and go all the way back down. One to come up here, flank them extremely easily. As I said, this building is very easy to play around, extremely versatile, and like I said before, there's a lot of different parts about it. You can always just jump down. It's extremely easy to escape while kind of just running around and sneaking those kills in. And yeah, this should be your #1 priority if you ever get chased, or you need to engage somebody in a fight. If you're in a disadvantaged position, do not fight them in the open. You can always just come inside, run in here, wait for somebody to push you, beam them, run away, and you'll be gone in no time. Yeah. Well, of course, I would suggest you guys kind of just look around the apartments yourself, or you can even look at some of my own videos, because I play in these apartments quite a bit. Alright, now to my second building type, which are these new ones that they added in the second update, which is pretty similar to the layout of those apartments, but a little bit different since it's a bit higher, and how you can play around is a little bit different. So about these buildings, with this one being the one that you'll probably be in the most, I doubt you'd ever kind of go to the one all the way over there. There are just a few main points people going from. It's either this one, from here, or from here. Now, usually I would say if you're playing solo, I do not suggest you play in this area, because it is very difficult to get out if you get surrounded, since there really isn't many ways for you to run out too easily. However, there is the bottom floor down here, which you can just easily break a building, jump down, take no fall damage, jump down all the way over here, and you are gone. And I do not want to fight that guy. It is a great place to fight around if you're getting chased. You know, pick one off and keep running. And at the same time, as well, I can't get up now, but as you can remember earlier, there is also a stairway there, so if anybody ever pushes you, shoot them in a straight line. Alright, now I will come down to my final building type, which you will probably not interact with as much, since there's really just 2 of them that you'll be in the most, which, well, they're both around bunker. Anyways, these buildings, basically, it's the second floor from the roof. Down here, kind of just a really, please don't kill me. Oh, okay. There's basically just an interior. There really isn't much to do here. However, it is a great place to seek refuge. okay, these guys kind of knew how to go up, but anyways. Alright, why the ever-living shit are they doing this? I'm gonna spin back. Well, that doesn't really... And yeah. Again, I guess you could say that was So anyways, as I was saying, these buildings usually will come into use when you're engaging people from either here to there, here to there, here to there, here to anywhere on the ground, here to there, or even here to all the way to bunker. What's most useful of these buildings are their doors. What I'd usually do, I'd try to kill someone. If you ever are getting rushed, you need a reload, you can literally come here, lock the door. That's more than enough time for you to get a reload in. And maybe also 1 or 2 heals. Which is honestly pretty good, which honestly just gives you another chance to kill somebody or run away, really. And always, if they ever decide to start bashing this door in, as I just did, you can literally run all the way from the back up and then counter them once again. Again, like all the buildings in the game, it is very essential for you to run around the entire place, making it as difficult as you can for whoever's trying to kill you to find you, because Blackout's movement and its map is pretty crazy. Alright, and now that that's done, I'll be coming down to the next point, which is game sense. Now, game sense is, I guess, much harder for me to just talk about, since it's more of a thing you kind of develop over time. And of course, I'm sure everybody knows that the better your game sense, the better your survivability, which is pretty important because, you know, your game sense also kind of determines the decisions you make. You know, if you're gonna stay, or are you gonna fight, or you're just gonna run away, or you're gonna position yourself in a intense situation. You know, that's our game sense. So I think instead of me explaining it, I'll kind of try illustrating it with a few clips, which I will be kind of dubbing or just explaining in general, so you guys can kind of understand what I'm trying to talk about. And I guess at the end of the day, game sense, just like aim, is something you kind of develop over time by literally putting yourself in situations where you can't win. You just gotta actually start using your brain in Roblox. Damn, I really never thought you'd ever like do something like that. But yeah. Anyways, on to the clips. Alright, so here is our first. All of the examples I'll be using will be in my own video. So if you guys ever want to check it out for whatever reason, you always can. But basically, in this video, somebody just finished a fight and they're standing still, so I decided to jump them with an Uzi. Get some shots in, but unfortunately, they do not go down. So obviously, as anybody would, I push down. Because, you know, they're low. Now we're gonna get the finish on him. I'm out of ammo, there's a guy shooting at me. Best course of action, go inside the room. Lock the door. Now, of course, any normal human being will reload, but some might just stay in this room and wait for them to push. Just make the decision. What's the best way you could win this? Game sense. Decision making. So what I instantly decided to do, I decided to run an entire circle around the building. Come down here, they're unsuspecting. Jump down, get a few shots in, they don't have armor, and then chase it. My aim was pretty shit here, but as you can see, I do get the job done eventually. Now, I might have lost. You know, The main reason I actually managed to win that could have been because I actually decided to go up. If I fought them inside of that room, very well might have lost. Alright, here's the next clip. You can see me. I'm camping somebody that just came out of the dealer. They bought a full kit because I'm a rat, and when I play solo, I gotta do what I gotta do. So unlike I expected, they decided to go up. Now, as some might just, go straight for the shot, or some others might, you can wait. You don't have to shoot them. If the chance of you killing them suddenly went from like a 70% to a 20%, don't go for it anymore. They're up there. I obviously would not want to engage that because there's no way I'm winning against 2 full kits. So I hide. I complain about it, but it is what it is. So what I would wait for is for him to move out. When he's out of here, now I know I'm safe. I can push and nobody's gonna come for me because there's like 5 full kits up there fighting each other. Game sense, decision making. Again, so after that, I push up and, that's that, and I manage to kill somebody later, but that's relevant. Alright, this will be the last piece of video, kind of just a clip that I'll be explaining. And again, I like to say game sense is extremely vague. It's so hard for me to actually describe how it is and how to improve on it, but it's really just use your brain, bro. Like, it's like, yeah, like, I know Blackout doesn't sound like you need strategy for it, but sometimes just a little bit, you might just need a little bit of it. But here again, I'll kind of just run you guys through the clip. Basically, I was getting dealer camped here by 3 people, an M4, they both have armor battery, an M4, a KS-23, and a MP5, I'm pretty sure. And obviously, I would not peek outside because I'm gonna get fucking shredded. So what I do is, as you can see, I would have definitely died there if I just waited any longer. So what happens was, they get jumped by a random guy. Now, that guy dies. Surprise, surprise. But that gives me a window to come outside and shoot at them because they're slightly distracted. Now, a great thing about this place is it's really small, so less chance of me getting killed as fast since they have a lot more. So I do end up managing to get one of them down. Now some people might just go for the fist, you might just try to finish that one guy that's down, but no. I've got a hole here, that's my way out. So what I do, I run. They're still reloading, they're out of ammo, they just fought somebody. Now I get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna go to the top of convenience store. Will they chase me? No, they won't, because they're busy reviving their friend. And that's just like being aware of your surrounding, because there was a AWM up there earlier and I saw them. So obviously dodge that and they won't shoot me. Now I can go for seconds because I know they're obviously down there reviving. I can literally hear them. So we down another guy, we get the kill on him, run out of ammo, run again. Now usually I could have died here, but I got pretty lucky, so I didn't. So I take the same route again. They somehow didn't realize that I was going to the side, so just play the same tricks again. Come here, reload. Do the exact same thing. Who would have thought, right? Guy with the KS-23, guy with the MP5, guy with the M4. Who would have thought they'd be the end? Because some guy with the G17 that they were originally camping killed him. So finally, we get this guy that was literally out of ammo, by the way. We finally managed to kill them and I die, but obviously, I got what I really wanted. I mean, it was a G17. What could I have possibly needed from that? Alright, now finally coming on into my next point, which will be gun preference. Now, an example of this, I could just say a lot of people I see asking, about, what attachments should I put on an M4, what attachments should I put on an AK? Well, really, at the end of the day, all I can tell you, we're not even attachments, we're just, should I pre-buy the M4 or should I pre-buy the AK? But at the end of the day, I just have to tell you, you'll have to try them out yourself and determine for yourself. Like, at the end of the day, man, really, you gotta understand what weapon best suits you. It's personal preference. You gotta understand what you should be using in what situation. Know that your personal preference with a gun or its attachments will always take #1 priority. Don't take other people's suggestions on what guns you should use as an absolute. So I guess I'll just cover, I mean, this point is pretty vague, but I guess I'll cover a few gun types, mainly SMGs and rifles. Pistols and snipers are less common, so SMGs really, close range combat, mid-range beaming, It's, it's really good. Usually lower armor pen, but like much faster fire rate, and then at the end much cheaper than rifles. You might be leaning towards SMGs like I am right now, or you might come down to rifles, which is good for close range combat. Medium to long range, you can beam people. Decently high armor pen and capable of doing a lot of damage. If you like those better, use rifles. And then you have pistols and snipers, where they both require much more skill compared to the previous two, because obviously much less room for error in terms of you missing shots. It's very punishing, but if you use it well, it could be very broken. So I guess gun preference, it's really just, you gotta look at your situation. Don't just don't just use the AK like everybody else does because you're told to. Try out all the guns. I used to do that. I used to use them for all the time, but I look back at it now. I'm running Mac 11 every chance I get. Why? Because I love the gun. Does other people use it as much as I do? No, because they find the AK better. Well, that's their choice, but just saying, gotta try everything out to know what really suits you, man. And I guess if people were to ask, I just like to put this out there in case anybody would really like to know. So my personal gun attachment preferences for only 3, which is the current ones I'm using a lot. So you have M4, I use muzzle brake, vertical grip, and reflex sight. The reason for this is usually when I use M4, I try to go first person at decently longer ranges to beam people, which requires a bit less recoil, which is why I use muzzle grip and muzzle brake and vertical grip, which decreases recoil the most while still giving me a decent third person hip fire kind of spread. And the reflex sight is because the M4 recoil is actually controllable for me, so I don't need to. So even though the reflex sight zooms the gun in by 1.5, I can still control the recoil. While for the AK, I use the muzzle grip and laser as well, because obviously muzzle grip to reduce recoil, and also some spread. People might use suppressor, but I personally don't like it. Why? Personal preference. The numbers, I don't always trust it. Laser, of course, you will always have that. Reason I don't have a sight is because the AK recoil is much more intense than the M4, so I'd rather not get a scope that might zoom me in by 1.5, which would make recoil control at longer ranges much more difficult. Now I would like to come down to the Mac 11, or really on a lot of SMGs I use to set up, so the suppressor and the vertical grip. The suppressor is to get rid of the goddamn gun muzzle flash, because when you try to beam somebody in first person, especially with a gun like Mac 11, which is a very fast fire rate SMG, you don't want a blare of light just sitting in front of your barrel. You can't see what you're shooting at. If you add a suppressor there, it's gonna reduce the kind of the blinding lights of the gun by a lot, where you can actually shoot at people. And again, the vertical grip to reduce recoil since it's a Mac 11. But obviously, again, these are just things I use. You don't have to follow this. You can try it out. If you like it, you can use it. But just want to say, gun preference, at the end of the day, it's up to you. You gotta know what suits you the most, man. And well, it is almost 1 AM already, and I finally came down to my last point, which will be confidence. Now, I really don't want to say too much about this because I feel like the idea of confidence is a bit too vague for me to fully just state here for you. But I guess really confidence is just about how you take fights. It's really related to your positioning as well. Like, do I think I'm gonna win this? Do I push it? It's you gotta know how to estimate your own ability to do something. Like, never overextend and know what you're doing. If you can't win this, run. It's all related to confidence. Again, also comes down to survivability. Sometimes you might be overconfident. Sometimes you might not have enough confidence. Just being overconfident. I've done it a lot of times as well. I might peek a few guys in the middle of the street, think I could beam one of them, miss all my shots, and get absolutely shredded. Just being overconfident. I could have just ran instead of doing all that stupid shit. Or you could also force confidence into yourself if you have to. Situations where you really can't back away from, don't try to run away. Maybe you'll win, just force yourself to fight that person. Maybe you can down one. You're kind of low, you got only a few bullets left, you only got a few bullets left in your magazine, just enough to kill one guy. Do you run or do you stay? If you run, you might get gunned down. There's really not much you can do. But if you stay, there might be a slight chance you can win. I mean, I've done. It's like clutching. You know, it's like, all right, GG's. You know, I'm cooked. It's over. Got this guy already. I'm gonna get pushed. I guess my final stand. If I win, I win. And sometimes these fights that you end up taking, you end up winning. You know, build up your confidence. You know what you're capable of. And yeah, that's really about it for this entire video. It is pretty long. I would like to apologize for that, but hopefully this is what you guys kind of wanted, since a lot of you did end up asking for a PvP guide. So I guess just go through some of the parts that you're interested in, some of the parts I did yap quite a little bit, so you can probably skip that. And yeah, have a good day and goodbye.